Donna Hopkins Pro Football Plus out here at Commanders headquarters, starting my 38th NFL season with this football team. So let's get started. Here with Lake Lewis, just got finished talking to Jordan McGee, second-year linebacker for the Commanders. I'm talking about Lake. This guy is going to be a tremendous help to this linebacker group that is talented, one of the better ones that I've seen in a long time. You've got Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, Hamilton, McGee. I mean, when you talk about that talent right there, they can do some different things linebacker-wise this year with this group. And just talk to me about Jordan McGee and what you see in this guy.
Man, I really like Jordan quite a bit, and I had a chance to speak with him as well. And he was a guy that at this time last year there was a buzz about him. Like, okay, maybe this guy could be, the third linebacker, the third starting linebacker to go with Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner. And then he got hurt. Mm-hmm. So when he got hurt, he missed some time. He had to come back, during the season.
Later in the season,
exactly. So it was more on special teams, things of that nature. But this is a guy that they have super high expectations for, as we all do. He's that good. And we thought he was a steal when they drafted him out of Temple. I'm like, how did this guy fall this far? Mm-hmm. So he's a guy that I think Washington Commanders fans should remember the name Jordan McGee, because I think that he's going to be a guy that's going to get meaningful reps this year, a lot of them. And I think him and Dominique Hampton, I just think that they're going to bring another element to the linebacker room, where we know Bobby's the steady, like the professor out there. His game hasn't dropped off in any way, shape, or form. Frankie Louvu's more the wild dude out there, makes it all happen. But I think Dom Hampton and especially Jordan McGee, I think that they're going to bring a level of athleticism to the linebacker room now that's going to enhance it. So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, also, let's just stick on Jordan McGee a little bit, because they like what they see. Coach Quinn has already been raving about what he saw of Jordan McGee in the OTAs, the signal calling and all of that, which that's tough. To be that, which is what Bobby Wagner does. Mm-hmm. But he's really athletic. This guy, to me, is going to be able to play multiple positions, even maybe a little bit of safety, where Jeremy Chin was the year before. Mm-hmm. And when you look at Jordan McGee, he can do multiple things because he's that athletic.
Yeah, I mean, and he's one of those guys that Joe Witt, the defensive coordinator, and Dan Quinn covet. They covet guys that are versatile, that they can do multiple things, where you can't just, we've seen in years past, guys line up in the same spot all the time, and teams game plan for that, So if they know that, you're going to be moving around and they don't know where you're coming from, and this is a guy that has size, he's got speed, but more importantly, he's got the smarts.
Yeah.
I think that this guy is really, this year, I think he's going to be one of their breakout players.
Yeah, you're right. As far as he's talked about being smart, this guy picked up that playbook quickly. So let's talk about this team overall headed into 2025. Just our early assessment. I talked about, since we're on the defensive side of the ball, let's just stay there. I was saying that the defensive front has gotten much better as far as just the talent up front through free agency, through the people that they plugged in there to get a Von Miller just before camp. But when you look at the safety position, they are solid there. Will Harris, Quan Martin, Percy Butler. Then we just talked about the linebacker group, and then when you go the back end with Lattimore and Mikey Sandersteele and Jonathan Jones and all of them, you know what? You've got to be excited about this. First time in a long time that they had that depth. And as Lake always knows, I'm talking about getting to the quarterback and finally getting a Von Miller who looks young and fresh. So erase from your minds as far as him being the age that he is, because I can't tell being out here in the first day.
Yeah, he looked great. I mean, and you can tell that he's one of those vets that he's still on reserve right now. Like, he didn't empty the tank or anything, but he still was in a full sweat, full lather. But he did. He just looked fit, and that bend, it's Hall of Fame-ish. I mean, what he was showing, it's real. And for anyone that's thinking, oh, this guy's 36 years old, he's not the same player. Of course he's not the same player. What 36-year-old player really is the same player that they were at 26 or at 22, 23? But you know what? That guy at 36 still better than probably 80% of the edge rushers in the NFL. So
Yeah.
Washington got them an upgrade at that position. And this is a guy that's also not a sieve against the run, so I think he's a guy that can do some things. And again, you pair him, and Jordan McGee talked about that. Think about a young player like Jordan and the fact that you have a Bobby Wagner, first ballot Hall of Famer when he hangs it up, that you can pick his brain. And now, if you're a guy if you're trying to add some versatility to your game and you want to be an edge rusher too, you can talk to another first ballot Hall of Famer in Von Miller. Don't think that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn don't know these things. Of course they do. As they're gunning for a Super Bowl this year, they're still building for the long term, and best way to build for the long term with your young players is to have true professionals, true Hall of Famers, show them how you're supposed to work day in and day out. So I'm excited about it. I think this defense is going to be much better than it was last year. I think we have to start talking about Joe Witt Jr. a little bit more because he doesn't get the credit that I think he's deserving of from last year. They didn't have a lot last year, and he had to patchwork and put things together. But I feel like now this defense is going to be his type of defense. They've got violent defenders on this defense, and they've got violent guys up front now with Eddie Goldman and Dedrick Wise and Javon Kinlaw. Trust me, we saw them today. When they were hitting that bag was moving. With a body on it, it was moving. So, yeah, I'm excited about what this defense possibly can do. Do they have like that featured, edge rusher?
Not yet.
Not yet. Not really. But I don't think in this defense, the way it's orchestrated, I don't think they necessarily need that verbatim, especially when you look at the quarterbacks in their division. Russell Wilson, Jalen Hurts. There's the guys that beat you with their legs more than their arms.
Yeah.
And now if you have guys that can hold an edge and not let people run the football on them, I think this defense will be able to turn up a little bit more, Donna, especially with what they have at that linebacking core and that corner. We didn't even mention Trey Amos.
Oh, you know what? Smack me in the mouth because I missed him because Trey Amos probably is having the better camp OTAs because they were talking about him also as far as play calling, going after the ball. I mean, this guy does not look like a rookie. And Coach Quinn was talking about him just in the classroom, just how he's absorbing things quickly. And that's what you want is these players to come in and absorb things. Second-year player, Coach Quinn talked about, they should be able to step it up. So I'm paying attention. I told them, Lake, I'm paying attention to the offensive line because I can't wait to see that defensive line and offensive line go up against each other. But the reason why I'm paying attention to those two areas because last year those are the areas that I thought that needed to be upgraded, and this year having some people on that defensive side that they signed in free agency, and then Connolly and Larry Tunsil, and then Brandon Coleman in his second year. You've got to like what you see in the offensive line, the multiple changing of positions that you can move guys around. This is the first time in a long time that Brandon Coleman can go back to his true position, but they know that if anything happens injury-wise, they can shift him again. Connolly can play multiple positions as far as on the offensive line. And then to have a guy like Laramie Tunsil come in as that anchor, you've got to like what you see on the offensive side of the ball also as far as the offensive line. I'm not going to talk about Jayden yet because Jayden is going to be Jayden. Not going to talk about the wide receivers, the Terry McLaurin not being here and all of that. I'll save that for another day. But I want to just kind of like get your take on the offensive line going into 2025.
I think it's going to be great. We got a little nugget earlier, to someone else who we're expecting to be back maybe sooner than later. So, I think this offensive line can be special. I mean, I think it's going to be uber athletic on the edges, which, when you have an uber athletic quarterback, you're able to do things that maybe last year Cliff Kingsbury couldn't do with the offense. So now I think, with a young guy like Connerly, if he can really take that step during camp and solidify a starting spot on the right-hand side, which seems like that's the trajectory of where it's going to happen, I really do. I think this offensive line is going to be able to move some people off the ball, and they're also going to be able to pass protect for Jaden and make his life much easier. And the worst thing the league needs right now is an even more comfortable Jaden Daniels.
Well, one thing about it, day one of 2025 training camp, and you know what? I got ready this year also because I'm sporting a new hat that covers more my face so that I'm ready for the heat. First day of training camp was perfect weather. We could have this for the rest of the training camp. We'd be in love. But just in case, I'm prepared this year with my new digs, my hat.